Hello and welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. This is a reading for Libra. If Libra is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your reading. Please hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. And also, if there's anything that you would like me to pray over or meditate upon or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Okay? Now, this is going to be a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger. And I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I might provide. And remember, Libra, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And there we have a Knight of Wands, very active energy. That is some energy that is ready to go. Let's put that into some context, all right? Because we're going to use our Dove and Serpent spread, which means there are a lot more details, a lot more factors that influence this energy right now, okay? So, finishing up here, Path of the Serpent, a lot of major arcana over here. A lot of good earth energy here. We have some challenges with the water and with the air, but that's why we've got all that fire, right? Because I think we are conquering our enemies. We are overcoming our obstacles, and I think this is going to be really, really amazing. Let's do our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. We're going to use the Smith-Waite Tarot. And this is the card that we select randomly. We're going to set it down here. Our alien can be the guardian of that mystery card. We're not going to look at that until the end of the reading, okay? And hopefully that card will, tie everything together, give us the confirmation that we need at the end. So we've got earth here. We've got some more earth. We've got some air. We've got some water. We've got majors, and we've got this water at the end. So this is how I know that everything is going to be so magical at the end of all of this energy. It seems like there's some difficulty getting through this energy, but once we do, oh boy, really nice. Really, really nice. So we've got this very active Knight of Wands. This is fire on fire. This is something that you're used to. I mean, Libra, you are a cardinal air sign, so you're used to having this kind of rush of activity. Okay, and I think what's going on now is you're kind of feeling this rush of inspiration. It could be a rush of creativity. You're feeling like there is a lot for you to do and so little time to do it, right? So I think that we're trying to kind of get out of our head, we're trying to get out of our feelings, and we're just trying to take advantage of the opportunities that are right in front of us, or right above us, I should say, with this 10 of Pentacles. You're going to have to excuse my throat today, my voice. I think maybe I talk a little too much. Anyway, so Knight of Wands, very fiery energy, okay? This is some energy that could kind of carry you away if you let it, right? And I think we're kind of feeling that, we're feeling that rush of energy. It's like a burst. We feel suddenly anxious that we have a million things to do. Maybe something is kind of coming up in your life. Maybe there's a deadline. Maybe there is some project that is nearing completion, or some thing in the future that you're looking forward to, and you feel like, I've got to start getting to work. Maybe there is something that you're trying to finish. I think that truly amazing things are in front of you, but now it's just a matter of kind of getting out of our head, getting out of our emotions, and doing the work, getting it done, taking advantage of this opportunity. So I feel that there's this rush of fire energy, okay? I feel like it's a very delicate process keeping it under control, because we don't want to control it too much to where we lose some of this fire, right? But we don't want to let it go, because then it's kind of out of control and we've got no direction. And it's kind of like the horse is leading us, right? The horse is kind of carrying us away. But there might be a very important mystery in that, right? Letting the horse carry you away. Not really trying to steer the horse with the reins, but just holding the reins so you don't fall off, gripping tightly, like with your legs or whatever, and holding the reins. But let the horse take you. Let the horse go, right? Let it find the path forward. Rather than us trying to use our conscious control, maybe that's this air energy here. Maybe instead of trying to control it, with our intellect and our mind kind of deciding which way to go and being acutely aware of all of the little muscle movements, let's just let our body do it. Let's let the horse go, right? And this could be something that is not easy for you to do, right? It's, like when you're doing any kind of physical activity, really, from driving to sports to playing pool to gardening. If you think consciously about every little movement of your body, it's going to be a disaster. I mean, there's just no way that we can do that, right? Nothing would get accomplished. Especially if you're doing something like driving. Have you ever really driven and tried to be conscious of every minute muscle movement from your foot on the accelerator to the very almost imperceptible adjustments of your steering wheel? We can't be conscious of every single little movement, right? It's something where we have to trust our body, that we just kind of know. They call it muscle memory or instinct, or it's because of the pathways in our brains, whatever it is. We kind of have to trust things. We have to trust the horse a little bit. And I think the horse here is representing just our physicality. Okay. And I think that's a difficult thing to do, especially with whatever you have going on, because it seems there's a lot at stake here. 10 of Pentacles. This is at the top. This is the big prize, right? This is, I really think something amazing is coming, and we've got to be ready to accept it. We've got to be ready to react to it, to take advantage of this opportunity. We got to get out of our head. Look at all this air and water we have kind of down here. All of this here is just kind of, we've got to get out of this, and we've got to get back to this. Now, the 5 of Discs is very interesting when we team it up with this thought we just had about kind of letting our bodies kind of do the work, right? Trusting ourselves enough to just kind of respond, to react, to do this thing, whatever it is. Could be a work thing, could be a personal project, could be a spiritual thing, could be a family thing, whatever it is. There's a lot at stake, and there's a huge kind of prize at the end, a huge reward, a lot of benefit from you accomplishing this, okay? The 5 of Discs here is representing, I think, the anxiety that we might have. Part of this fire energy, I think, is some anxiety. And that is knowing that there's still a lot to do, knowing that we still have quite a ways until we get to this 10 of Pentacles, right? So there's some anxiety there. But the 5 of Discs is also talking about the movement in the physical realm. So it is, it's this idea that we just have to kind of step back a little bit. Stop being so mindful. I know everybody talks about mindfulness. And perhaps it is the true measure of mindfulness when we can never mind, right? When we can not mind something. Maybe that's the true height and perfection of mindfulness, is being kind of mindless, right? And what I mean by that is not trying to interfere intellectually, rationally, or with our thoughts, in the process, in what we're doing. We have to trust in our body, in our muscles, in our brains, our minds, that we can accomplish this without having to micromanage ourselves. Does that make sense? So we kind of just need to let the work happen, in other words. We need to let the horse kind of carry us where it will. We hold on. We're coming along for the ride. We still have the reins, so if there is an emergency, we can intervene, but we don't want to interfere, right? So the 5 of Discs or Pentacles here, I think, is really important in that there is work that needs to be done, but it's not this intellectual work. We see all of this kind of emotional work, intellectual work, and we see the 8 of Swords resulting from all of this. right? These cards were up here like this. I kind of think of it as like, well, like a horseshoe, right? The first thing is the Five of Cups, some emotional turmoil. I think whatever this situation is, it has an emotional tie. It has an emotional factor in that this could be something that it's something that you're trying to accomplish for your family, for yourself, for your loved ones. You know, it could be that, it could be like a housing situation. It could be something with the car. It could be something with your job. It could be something just with the family relationships, you know. But I feel that there is this, there's a lot at stake, but not only physically, financially, but emotionally too, you know. And I think that it hasn't been the easiest run. I think there's been a lot of challenges. I'm trying to phrase this properly. You may feel like you have let yourself down or let others down. Okay? We've all felt like that at some point in our life. I think in the last few months, you have maybe felt that way. Okay? I feel like that's changing now. I feel like this is the opportunity. This is something that you've got to take advantage of. You've got to really maximize the payoff for this. You know, the potential is here, and you want to achieve all that you can achieve here, right? You want the best results possible. Not in small part because of this, you know, relative disappointment, or this feeling of having let someone down, let yourself down. We see that corrected here. Okay, we see that by the end, with this Three of Cups at the end, we know that this is taken care of. Okay, so it's kind of a touchy subject, and I don't want to dwell on it too long, but I feel like that's the motivation. That's part of why this is so important. Okay. And then we also see the Five. Now, usually this card's like this, right? The Five of Swords, it's down beneath everything. We have the Five of Cups, we have the Five of Swords. This is the havoc that we sometimes wreak on our own minds, right? On our own souls, based on the perception, based on this feeling, based on this idea that we've let ourselves down, we've let others down, and then we start to feel like we're a letdown, right? So it's a reinforcing cycle. The fives here, they contribute to each other. They kind of, you know, the cups make the swords worse. The swords make the cups worse, right? Strengthens that negative energy. So we need to get ourselves out of our own heads, out of this overthinking, out of this negative thinking, really, right? That's the first step, is to stop the put downs, right? And I think that's why this card was drawn this way, right? Upside down, technically. But to me, this card's right side up now, because now Spirit is back on top. Now we're using positive affirmations. Now this is a mind over matter sort of, but still has this idea of, you know, matter over mind in a way. When it's kind of two different things, but we have to rise above all of the negative elements here. We have to rise above the thoughts, rise above the feelings, trust in Spirit, and that's why the point of Spirit there, the crown, is at the very top rather than on the very bottom, buried underneath all of the other energy. Now it's on top, right? Now this is you getting out of your head. This is you getting out of this Five of Cups, the feeling area here, getting up out of the negative thinking and the interfering altogether, right? So what we have with the 8, this is interference. This is literally the key word of this card. It's the Lord of Interference. So if we stay in this horseshoe, right? If we stay in this energy here with the Five of Cups, Five of Swords, we go right to the 8 of Swords, the interference. We're blocking ourselves from accomplishing this. This right here is what we want. Now, this is where we could sink into if we're not careful. This is maybe maybe a damaged horseshoe, and we need to replace this with something, right? Maybe we're replacing this horseshoe with some of this major arcana energy over here, right? Maybe that's what we can do, is kind of replace this horseshoe to get this horse moving toward this goal, because this is what we want. This could prevent it, honestly. This emotional kind of reaction, this mental interference, distraction, reaction, this could prevent us from achieving this goal here. Now, the Eight of Swords is the outcome we do not want. Right? This is what's in the immediate future if we follow this horseshoe path. Right? If we follow this horseshoe path, we get here, we're blocking our own way. We're preventing our own success. We're sabotaging ourselves because we just can't get out of our heads over it. Right? We're too worried about it. We think too much. We micromanage. We need to trust in the process, trust in ourselves, trust in our bodies, our hands, trust in that the parts of our mind and our psyche and our brains and in the universe and in spirit to just go with it, to just move forward and go into this energy and not overthink it, not sink back into these energies. Okay. So this to me is an instance where mindfulness is going to be, well, it's going to be very restricting. Right? Mindfulness is going to prevent progress in this instance. Okay? Maybe when this is done, whatever this work is, then we can go back to being mindful again, being introspective, and really deal with all of this energy here to see why it's here anyway. Right? It's here for a reason. Well, let's investigate it, but not right now. Right? Doing that right now, if we wallow in this, maybe wallow isn't the right word, but we're going to prevent our own progress. We're going to be blocking our own way. Okay? So that's the first path. And the Ten of Pentacles, I mean, this, whatever the prize is, whatever the success is, it's big, it's major. I think that this is really an amazing opportunity coming into your life. Something truly amazing is happening, and you've got to quit with your thinking and your worrying and go get it. Right? Go get it. Let the horse lead you. Let that impulse guide you. Okay? Because this is what we've been working toward. This is what we've been aspiring to. This is what you need. This is what you want. This is, it's not just financial wealth. This is health. This is a restoration of your well-being overall. Physical, mental, emotional, spiritual. So achieving this, and this is all obviously very specific to you, whatever your unique situation is. If this is a work thing, if it's a school thing maybe, or some art project, or some kind of business that you're starting, whatever it might be. And if you'd like to leave some comments, I'm always interested to hear from you. I read every comment. It takes me a while, but I do read them. So the Ten of Discs, that's really what we want, and it's not just financial. It's a holistic accomplishment, right? Now, we start the path of the serpent with some very strong, fire energy. The Eon card, judgment, rebirth, reawakening, the baptism by fire. So it's interesting to me that we started the path of the dove with basically pure fire, right? Fire on fire. And then we start the path of the serpent with the Eon card, which is pure fire, right? The archetype of fire. And this is the fire now that will either burn you, right? This is kind of, it's almost like we're zooming in on this Eon card, and this is what we see. So this fire, these two cards are very strongly connected. This fire could burn you, right? It could be a disaster. It could hurt. We could fail, right? But the only way you're going to fail is if you do not Go with all of your might through this door. If you hesitate, if you pull back on the reins, if you get scared, if we overthink it, if we start sinking back into this, if we interfere with this Knight, see, I'm kind of trying to interfere with it. If we interfere with that Knight of Wands, this fire is going to burn us and we are going to fail. So we don't interfere with this process, with this impulse. This comes from Spirit. Okay. And this is your readiness as well. Okay. You're ready to go through this door. You really want this, and you're going to achieve it. And through this door is that Ten of Pentacles. It is the rest of your life. It is your future. If you successfully get through this door, this is the greatest success you've ever known. This is the solution to all of your problems. This is the new era for you. It's a new eon, right? It is you welcoming every opportunity. It is you going after everything that you want, every goal that you have, having the pride and the confidence and the assertiveness and the creativity, the enthusiasm, having the fire energy, having the will. And fire is spirit, right? So you have that spiritual will to pursue your goals, to go, to be yourself and to live your life. And go after those things that fulfill you. Okay? And we get out of this water, air energy down here that's telling us we can't, or I'm not good enough, or I failed, or I'm too weak, I'm not strong, I'm not good enough. All that BS. We leave that behind. Okay? So we're making the conscious decision to be a little bit less conscious about it. Right? I know that sounds weird. So we're making the decision now to kind of close our eyes and trust fall, right, into the universe, into this opportunity. And trust you that you will catch you, because you are that universe. You are that infinite spirit. So we have to stop minding everything, right? Trust the universe. And I think that this is exactly what you are ready to do. Now, being ready to do something and doing it are two different things, but I think you are doing it too. Let's put those back. Now, the next card, in your environment, this is art. This is temperance. This is maybe more than temperance as in moderation, right? Consuming less of something. We're trying to dial ourselves down, temper ourselves, you know. I feel like this is tempering as in, you know, the way that a sword is forged, right? Like a blacksmith's furnace, like with a hammer and anvil, and we're tempering the steel to make it strong, right? Perhaps that's what we need with this air energy. Perhaps these swords are just too many swords, and none of them are really all that strong, right? Too many minds, and none of these are the leader, right? We're trying to put spirit back on top. Yeah, that's what we're trying to do. That's a good step. But we need to take all of this metal, all of these swords here, right, that are many, but they are weak. We need to take all of those, put them into the fire, right? Put them into this furnace, the fire here, the archetype and the practical kind of activation of it. Put all of this metal into the fire, melt it down so that we can forge one very sharp sword. Very sharp, very strong. Maybe that Ace of Swords. Maybe that's what the mystery card will be. The Ace of Swords, that's one mind. That's one mind devoted to simplicity, to concentration. It's not the kind of scattered minds that we see here that are interfering with our kind of trust fall, you know. but is that central sword of simplicity and truth and trust. That's the mind that we want. That's the one mind that we should be striving for. And I think that the way to forge that is to sacrifice all of this fire, all of this air, all of these swords, into that furnace. See, we got rid of them. They're all in the fire now. And this card's in the position of your environment. So that means this. Okay? And that means that through this situation, through this work that you're doing, this project, a work thing, a school, if it's something in your personal life, whatever it is, through this big kind of crisis, this big opportunity, this amazing thing that's happening right now, this is the furnace, this is the fire. And the way that you get rid of all those swords and put them in the furnace is by, yes, letting that horse take you, by being in the fire and doing it, trusting yourself, trusting the universe, and moving ahead into this 10 of discs opportunity. Okay? That is the fire. This situation is the furnace in which we are tempering our steel. First, we're melting down all of those other swords. See, we got rid of them. Now they're in the fire here. Okay? This is the furnace. This is the fire that is heating that furnace, that forge, that foundry. Now, the next card. This is kind of the old way. This is the position of what we don't want. This is the new eon. This is the old eon. Right? This is the new way of doing things through fire, through strength, through confidence, through trust. Right? You have to trust that if you rush through this burning door, that you're going to get to the other side and you're not going to just fail and catch fire and miserable. But the old way is, I think, the way of this 5 of Cups. See? Hanged Man, water energy. This is what we don't want. I think that this is, in some ways, sacrificing our progress or failing because we have failed in the past. Right? This is kind of like we feel that we've been in this 5 of Cups before, so now we're doomed to just continue to be in that 5 of Cups. This is almost giving up hope, because once we've activated this 5 of Cups, there's no getting out of it. Right? We've almost put ourselves into this uncomfortable position, and now we're just kind of lamenting, like, why am I in this uncomfortable position? Well, we put ourselves here. Okay? This is a voluntary suffering, this card. No one strung this person up like this. This is a voluntary thing, which means that we can get down anytime we want. Maybe we're here because we're testing ourselves. Maybe we want to see how long we can be here and what we can learn from it, kind of like Odin, right? Let me see how long I can endure this suffering to see what I might gain. Right? And I think I think a lot of us look at suffering that way. Well, the more I can suffer, the stronger I am, the better I can be, the more worthwhile my efforts will be, or the more spiritual progress I've made, the more spiritual I am in general because I suffer. But this is suffering that doesn't have a real purpose, right? It's okay to put yourself in uncomfortable positions. That's how we grow, right? And that's probably the difference between the Hanged Man and this Eon card and this Art and Temperance card. This fire and this water are different. The water is just kind of suffering for the sake of suffering, thinking, woe is me, 5 of Cups, boo-hoo, kind of. I'm not trying to be crass. The fire energy still suffers, still goes through trials, tribulations, still has difficulties, right? It's still very uncomfortable, but it's for a purpose. It's making you stronger. It's making you able to withstand more and more Suffering because we are progressing. Now, there's always going to be suffering, right? But it's almost as if the water energy is saying, wow, your threshold for your pain tolerance is very low, right? We're getting more and more sensitive to this water energy, to these cups, the 5 of cups, to this kind of energy. We're being more and more sensitive to it. On the other hand, with the fire, we can endure more, right? Every time we go into the fire, we get taken out. We go into the fire, we get taken out. We're stronger. We can endure hotter and hotter temperatures, right? The higher up you get on the mountain, the closer to success you get. You have to slowly acclimate to the environment up there, right? When you're climbing a mountain, the oxygen gets less and less, right? The oxygen saturation in the atmosphere lessens. We have to adjust to that, right? And the only way to do that is to continually go up, suffer a little bit, and come back down. Go up and suffer and come back. And then pretty soon we can go higher and higher and higher before we hit that same threshold of, okay, I'm too uncomfortable, I've got to go. Okay? So I think there is a big difference between the Hanged Man, which this is the water energy that we don't want. We don't want to be so sensitive to things that we, that instead of getting stronger and more capable, we're kind of going in the opposite direction, right? And I think you know this. I'm not telling you anything new. That's why this card is here. The position of what we don't want. We don't want that Hanged Man, but it's here. So we obviously need it. Now, the Hanged Man is also the card of sacrifice. Voluntary suffering, voluntary sacrifice. I think in this case, it's telling us that we need to sacrifice this 5 of Cups. This pity party, you know? This feeling that we had, we already talked about it. I don't want to dwell on it. We have to sacrifice that. And that might be the hardest thing to do, is to sacrifice our own negative feelings about ourselves, right? Disappointed in ourselves. Feel like that we've let people down, we've let ourselves down. And that saddens us, you know? And that's normal, obviously. But we need to sacrifice that. We need to sublimate that, perhaps. Devote that to our higher purpose. We need to give that to the Hanged Man. Let the Hanged Man deal with that. We're going through this fire. Now, the very next card, the only card left, 3 of Cups. We've taken that water and we're now turning it into the fountain of youth. We're turning it into abundance. We're turning it into love, joy, pleasure, and bliss. Right? First, we've got to get through the Hanged Man. We've got to, it's almost like you've got to pay the ferryman, right? The boatman. You got to give them something so that we can cross this water. Okay? And what we give him is that 5 of Cups, our own kind of self-pity, our own sorrow, our own disappointment. And that kind of buys our passage across, right? Guardian of the threshold there. Because on the other side, pure bliss. This is fantastic. Our 2 goals have been this 10 of discs and the 3 of Cups. And we attain that, and it is beautiful. Your life is beautiful and successful. It's going to feel amazing. It's going to be amazing. But there's still going to be more fire. Don't forget, we maybe get out of the furnace and we get cooled off, right? You go out of the fire, you get dipped in water, and that strengthens us. And we go back in the fire. So this isn't your last rodeo, right? This isn't the last show. You're going to have more to do. This is a really big accomplishment. Take advantage of it while it's here. Enjoy it, right? Pull yourself out of the fire and dip in this lovely 3 of Cups water. And then go back into the fire and keep working. Keep pushing forward. Keep making progress. Keep growing, right? Mystery card. Thank you, Alien, Guardian of the Mystery. I think we did a pretty good job of getting a lot of this energy kind of consolidated here. I think we really did a nice job. So what is the mystery card? I don't know. I don't have an idea. I think we're pretty much complete with what we've had. I don't know what else we would need. So let's just take a look. 4 of Swords. So the 4 of Swords takes us back to all of these air cards that we had here. And maybe it's talking about the need for us, or the method, or, you know, the first stage in all of this is to just give our minds a rest a little bit. I can kind of feel a little bit of a tension headache coming on, you know. We can't really throw all of the swords at once into the furnace, right? Because then, I mean, then we're not left with any swords at all. So maybe we just have to throw a few of them in there at a time, right? We can't expect a complete 180, right? We're not working miracles on our own minds right now. We got to take it step by step. You have to first give yourself a rest, give yourself a little bit of slack, go easy and gentle with yourself, okay? So I think this 4 of Swords is telling us, look, don't try to run before you can walk. Don't throw all of the swords into the fire. Just a few of them for now. Do a little bit at a time. Just work on some positive affirmations. Work on occupying your mind with other things so that we're not just worrying and stressing and micromanaging, right? Do the things that you can to silence your mind. See, this person is in a meditative state, right? So they're trying to find ways to kind of turn their mind off a little bit, quiet it down. Okay, that's the message there. So this is really a good practical way, practical step to get all these swords in the fire, to melt them down. We've got to do it a little bit at a time. It's going to take a while. It's going to be a gradual progression of your skill and your ability to do that, whether it's through meditation or, you know, I think meditation covers all sorts of activities. You know, it's not just it's not just sitting on the floor, eyes closed, you know, chanting. Meditation can really be done through any kind of activity, any kind of concentrated activity where you're controlling your thoughts, you're funneling them into a specific direction. That's meditation, right? Let me know in the comments the different ways that you meditate. I'm very curious about that. We're going to go ahead and move over to the extended. I know this video ran a little bit long. I appreciate you sticking around. If you want to watch the extended, just click up here. That'll give you access to every extended reading for every zodiac sign. I want to thank you again for letting me read for you, and thank you for being the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot.